Let's go there. Hello, everybody. Welcome 2026. Hi, Zia. Hi, Gavi. We are again our first podcast of 2026 and many more to come. How are you, Zia? How are you, Gavi?
Fantastic.
Good. Fantastic.
That's good. We're really happy for all of you that are watching us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Please don't hesitate to type your comments and questions. We're going to talk about staffing, nearshoring, AI, what is coming in this new era of 2026. And of course, we have our expert here, Sia, our COO, and Gabby. For those that don't know her, she's our business developer manager. So, Sia, let's just start right away with some of the questions, okay? So, just tell us, if 2026 had a staffing headline, what would it be and why should leaders pay attention to it?
If you take too long to make the decision, you're going to be left behind. So I guess it's don't hesitate. You got to pull the trigger. This is the year of it's going to be exponential growth across the board. Every report that's coming out is companies are hiring. So if you're not ready to hire right now, you're going to be competing for the C-level talent that's out there. And don't be afraid to pay your employees because they will leave.
Yep, that's really true. Let's talk about, well, there's, this buzz about the H-1 visa, and nearshoring. Let's talk about it, Sia. How it's going to change, how it's going to affect all the businesses, how it's going to affect even the employees. Just let's talk about it.
So I think this is something that's, it's been a super high level topic for the last 4 or 5 months, ever since the price went up to $100,000. I don't think we're done with H1s, but I think you're going to see it dramatically drop. There are still a couple of responsibilities, a couple of roles out there that will require an H1. But the majority of that work now is the strategy of, well, nobody's going to pay $100,000 to bring somebody in because you can have somebody in America do it for that or less. The question is going to be, what's your strategy? Because your budget is still your budget, right? We can't just increase budgets fictitiously. So what we've seen on our side is a massive demand for nearshore. And what that means, for those of you guys who don't know, is if you're okay with a remote employee, you're able to get top level employees that are just not going to be in your office. They're going to be based out of South America. They're going to be based in the Western Hemisphere. And they're going to be working at around the same price an H1 would be working at. And it's a little different shift from what you're used to, because you're used to being everybody in the office. But if you can't afford that, if your budget doesn't allow for that, the nearshore has been a great opportunity. Now, there are caveats with that. And there are, I would say, a couple things you got to look at. Number one is, if you're used to somebody being in the office, one of the biggest obstacles people face is, how do I manage that person if they're not in front of me? And if you guys both already know, we have calls every morning. What's my number one rule on a call, Gabby?
Quiz time.
No.
Your camera on.
Correct.
And, and I've seen this problem across the board. If your cameras aren't on, you don't know where your employees are. You don't know what they're doing. They could just participate for 3 words in a 30-minute meeting, and they're like, "Oh, I was at the meeting." No, they weren't. They weren't participating. You have to treat remote employees the same way you would treat somebody that's in the office. So camera on for me that's a non-negotiable, non-starter that has to happen, because you're able to see expressions, you're able to see the interaction. It's more personal. Camera on, Gordon. I love it, Gordon. So that's number one. Number two is, don't treat them any differently. Have your one-on-ones with them. Have your conversations with them. Have your touch points. Involve them in groups. Don't treat them any differently just because they're not in the office. So that's a big one. And then when it comes to nearshore, explore some of the cultural barriers that you might have. The same way when you have an H1 coming in from the Far East, there's going to be cultural barriers there. There's going to be cultural barriers going into the LATAM market. For example, I know right now my Colombians, they have there's a holiday, a religious holiday, at least once or twice a month. Be cognizant of those. Have a plan of attack of like, how am I going to work around that? How am I going to work through that? And just really preparing for it is the best way to go about it. But you can't stop hiring. If you stop hiring, somebody's going to beat you. And I guess the last part's going to be AI.
Yep.
Where are you going to be? So the opportunity with AI is, with the H1 situation happening, is, are you going to be able to make your current workforce more productive with AI? And if you're able to do that, you may be able to overcome the hurdle that is the H1. All things to look at, all things that we talk about on a daily basis, and it's not going to stop, and it's not going to stop changing. We're going to get a new curveball every month that we've all got to get ready for.
Good. Well, Siam, we had talked about this, and I want you to, if you had to describe staffing in 2026 in one sentence, are we in a crisis, a transition, or a moment of opportunity?
I find moments of opportunity in crisis. And right now, this is the biggest change we've seen in our industry since the computer came out. And again, we know we do a lot of IT staffing here, but with the advancements in AI, it's a crisis because we're seeing a lot of layoffs in certain fields, but we're also seeing a lot of additions in other fields. We're working on a project right now where half the roles are AI. So you got to ask yourself, all right, so we're seeing less development jobs, but we're seeing more AI jobs. So what are you going to do in your industry to prepare for that? What are you going to do to be ahead of that curve and not be a victim of that curve? So I think everything you just said applies. We are in a huge transition period.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make a lot of chaos. But if you're able to adapt and adjust, you can come out on top. More millionaires and billionaires are made during a downturn than an upturn.
Great.
Because that's where the opportunity is.
But what do you think, like, most companies are still too underestimating?
So this is a fun time. This is a fun conversation. How do you tell somebody who's been successful for so long that they need to make a change when they're like, nah, what I do is fine? And what you realize is that's why there's always new people becoming successful and more people going into early retirement. If you're not making a big change in your company every 3 to 5 years, your company's probably not going to be around for another 3 to 5 years. So with that being said, right now it's AI. 3 years from now, it could be something completely different. And it will probably be something completely different. It's what are you going to do? What changes are you prepared to make? And a lot of companies are like, you know what? I have no interest. We saw this in the medical field like 5-10 years ago in America, where all doctors were required to move to an EMR, an electronic medical records. If you're a doctor in their late 60s, early 70s, they just said, no, we're not going to do it. And they just either closed their practice, sold their practice, and retired. But a doctor in their 30s and 40s said, oh my God, I have to make this change. But instead of just making that change, they said, how can I make the best version of this change? And those are the ones you see that are coming out on top. Our industry is the same way.
Yep. We have two questions, Zia, and I think they relate to what we're talking right now. So I'm just going to go through it. So they're asking, what kind of jobs will companies still fill with H-1B1 visa?
So those are going to get incredibly niche. So if you're looking for a front-end developer, that's not going to come in via H1 anymore. That's just such a generic role. Maybe some sort of AI architect within a very specific niche or field that we just don't have that person in America now, or we just don't have enough of those people in America now. It's going to be very, very niche roles. You might find them more in like the medical field. If there's somebody that can maybe split a Siamese twin better than anybody else in the world, that person can come to America on an H1 and nobody would even bat an eyelash. And then the other thing you got to look at is how much you're willing to pay these people. I don't think you're going to bring somebody over here and pay them a $50,000 salary because you're paying them $100,000 just for the visa. So you're going to see very high level niche jobs still probably fill the H1 role. But other than that, I really see that going by the wayside. Mute. You're on mute.
Aleja, you're on mute.
It was on purpose, just to see if you're paying attention. So that's good. We have another question related to AI.
Sure.
So it's more about, have you ever seen AI actually do a job, not just AI development?
What do you mean by that? Say that question
I
one more time.
don't, it's, 1 second, let me try to read it again.
Like
So it says,
replacing humans, no?
Oh yeah, of
yeah,
course. Yeah,
so
of
I think it's
course.
more related to that. Is, have you ever seen AI actually do a job and not AI development? And I think, talking honestly, there's some AI that will definitely replace some things. So let's just
Yeah.
be open to that. So go ahead, Sia. Yeah.
So yeah, just think about what we do, right? We use a lot of AI, and a lot of AI is built in the softwares that we use. For example, if we have a position right now that needs 100 roles filled, we're going to get 1,000 resumes come in. The amount of money it would cost me to have my recruiters sift through 1,000 resumes isn't worth it. But with AI is going to be able to break down all those resumes, cross-reference them to the position, and rank them in the order of that we should call. Now, to take it to the next level, I can have AI reach out to all of these people. HI they'll reach out to them, tell them I am the CTI bot. This is your first interview. This is our first step in getting you hired. And if you're interested, stay on the line. I have a couple of questions for you. We'll get your interview scheduled for tomorrow. And that happens instantaneously for 1,000 resumes. For me to do that with my recruiters would take so long. The position may already be filled by a competitor. So to say, is it doing jobs already? Absolutely it is. And it's doing it at an extremely high level. The other thing, but I don't think the question one had to do with the other. The architecture of AI, there has to be somebody creating that algorithm, creating the code, creating the infrastructure for that AI bot to do those jobs, and to not just do them, be able to respond to the answers that they're going to be given.
You're okay, but have you seen cases where actually AI slows things down instead of helping us? Because I know what you say, and obviously it helps us a lot, but sometimes it's an issue because humans sometimes want humans, like in cases.
So, Gabby, there's an old expression that is to error is to human, but to really F something up, you're going to need a computer. So, of course, there's going to be times where that's going to happen. We just saw yesterday, Verizon went down. Verizon Wireless went down yesterday. For 5-6 hours, if you had Verizon, you couldn't make a phone call. Verizon's like a top 3 carrier in America. I think 100 million people are use Verizon Wireless. And imagine that many people can't do something. It had to be some sort of glitch that was fixed within 5 or 6 hours, probably by a human. So, can AI slow things down? I would say absolutely in the beginning. But with any change you're going to make at your company or in your process, the bottleneck's always in the beginning. Once you figure that out, the growth rate is going to far outweigh any sort of hiccup you have in the beginning. You're back on
See,
muted.
I am. I'm so sorry. I have. Let's move on a little bit to staffing in general for 2026.
Sure.
So, what is one challenge that you are seeing coming right now that it wasn't before in staffing?
I think the uncertainty with AI is probably the biggest variable. Last year, there was a lot of talk about it, and companies were making decisions on where to budget for it. Who are they going to cut? How are they going to add it? This year, I think we're in the same boat, but I feel there's more companies now that realize I'm either in AI or I'm out. And when I say out, it means I'm out of a job, I'm out of a company. So that's going to be the biggest thing. And we're seeing that now with the jobs that are coming in for us, the people, what they're asking us to fill. Everything is moving towards AI. Nobody's asking us for a front end developer anymore. They're asking us for an AI architect that can create a bot for like 50 developers. So I think that's it. I think it's just the demand now has gotten so crazy. So if you're in the IT world right now, guys, go figure out how to be an AI architect. That is the absolute hot job right now. Everybody would hire you in a heartbeat. If you're my friends in the Latam, go learn AI architecture. You will have a job, and you're going to be living like a king or queen in your home country with the amount of money people are willing to pay for that specific skill set.
Well, we talk about challenges. Is this showing up more with managers or with individual contributors?
Um, the challenge is going to show up everywhere, and it's only because there's no certainty behind it. Like right now, if 3 years ago you asked me for a front end developer, we knew exactly what we were looking for. We don't know what an AI architect is supposed to look like, and there's really nobody to cross-check their skill sets. It's a lot of trial and error. So the manager, if, for example, like I've been in sales my whole career, I've been very successful at sales my whole career. If you were going to tell me now that I have to find a way to use AI to make sales more adaptable, but I'm like, but I'm already good at what I do in sales. I'm already good at how I do it. I don't want to do something different. So you got to ask yourself, most managers probably feel that way. So managers are going to have a very difficult time adjusting to it unless they're willing to come out of their comfort zone. And that's something we hear a lot about in leadership is don't ever get comfortable. The second you get comfortable, you fall behind. And you see us, what we do is we're always trying to find the newest version of AI that we can implement in our company. Is how can we use AI to make each person at the company more productive? My goal is not to bring on 1,000 more employees. It's how can I make each employee 1,000 times more productive?
I think
So
like
yeah, we have. Go
okay,
ahead.
go. No.
It's just that we have questions from different platforms. I just want to address them right now
Sure.
because I don't want to lose the thread.
For
So
sure.
Gordon is asking, how are the best companies using AI as a productivity multiplier rather than a headcount reducer?
Sure. So just case in point, Gordon, if you look at our company, was about the 1,000 resumes that came in. Instead of me hiring 50 recruiters to sift through 1,000 resumes, I can use 5 recruiters because one AI bot's going to sift through all of those resumes in 15 minutes. And then now my 3 recruiters can call the top level talent, or maybe like if we give a match percentage of anybody over 80% match, they can reach out to those people. And I've made my recruiters more efficient. They're not calling bad resumes. A lot of the entry level part of it is kind of removed, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So I hope Zia answered Gordon. And then we have a question on YouTube from Natalia. So she's asking, Zia, what would you suggest candidates should do to position themselves above other candidates in AI and to get an H-1B visa?
To get an H-1B visa, do something nobody else can do.
Okay.
That's
Such
it.
as?
Do something nobody else can do. Go online and find out what is the most coveted skill set that's not only present now, but what's going to be tomorrow. One of my good friends, he was a late bloomer. He probably got his life started around 30, and all he did was he went online and Googled best paying jobs in America. And computers was number one. He went online, he got himself an online degree, and now he makes more money than I do. And all he did was figure out what's the trend. And it was all computers, and he put all of his eggs in that basket, and he went forward. I would tell everybody, do that right now. And don't ever stop investing in yourself. You're never going to be perfect. The only thing perfect in life was the 1972 Miami Dolphins. So you're not perfect. Everybody's going to have to get better. And so just keep investing in yourself. It's the only thing you can do better than everybody else.
Thank you, Sia. There's another question, and is if you were advising a CEO today, what's the one move they should make in 2026 to stay competitive in hiring and workforce strategy?
It's funny you said that. I'm actually at a conference right now, and one of the number one things that they talked about is you want your company to be a place where you're not putting out a help wanted sign. People are coming to your door asking to work there. And how you do that is you have to build the right culture. You have to build the right atmosphere. So where people are like, man, I really want to work at that company. So how you do that to start off is you have to find the right people. And I would tell you, if you think you're not hiring, or one of the dumbest things I hear from companies, we're on a hiring freeze. Stop. No, you're not. If Steve Jobs came back to life and said, I want to work at your company, are you on a hiring freeze? No. Just don't ever say that. Don't ever stop looking for good talent. don't ever stop interviewing. Don't ever stop looking for right people for your company. Because the day you do that, you've just regressed tenfold. Because instead of getting somebody like me to come work for you, I'm going to go to your competitor. I'm going to put you out of business. And that's just common sense. Don't ever stop hiring. Don't ever stop looking for people. That is the worst decision any company can make. AI is fantastic. But if you don't have the right people making strategic decisions, what good is AI?
Perfect. Thank you, Zia. We have one more questions before we move on to the game with Gavi. We always have a game for you. So, and the question is, um, how can small and mid-sized companies compete to get top talent when larger organizations are using advanced AI tools and global nearshoring models? How can mid-sized companies stay competitive?
So, so this kind of goes back to sales, right? If you're going to hire somebody and all you have is, well, here's a salary, here's a 401k, here's your office. Yeah, for like a lower level position, that's probably fine. But you got to ask yourself, what does that person want? And a lot of the conversations you have is you ask them, hey, listen, I think somebody of your skill set may be out of reach for a company like mine. But if I was to bring you on board, what would you want? And let them ask them what they want, and ask yourself, can you do it? A lot of times it might be equity. A bigger company is not going to give up any equity, right? They might give them stock options, but that's not equity. If you find somebody worth it, that you're like, if my company will grow because of this person, give them a piece of the business. What you're going to find is they're actually going to work exponentially harder because now they know as the company profits, they profit. So if any small to medium-sized company, if you're really trying to make a difference, don't make an offer. Ask them what they want, and they'll tell you. If all they want is money, that's not the right person.
Perfect. We don't have any more questions on the other platform. So, Gavi, let's go with our game for Sia.
Yes, let's do a quick game, a staffing version. So,
All right, let's do it.
what do you prefer? AI screening or a recruiter who actually reads the resume?
AI screening.
Nearshore talent or we need someone local but remote?
No, nearshore. That's ridiculous. Yeah. If you need them to be remote, why would you pay the extra money?
Okay. Hire fast or let's wait for the perfect candidate?
You hire slow and you fire fast. Tony Robbins.
Clear job description or we will know what we want once we see it? Clear job description.
Yes and no. Yes and no. We've had a lot of clients give us a clear job description, and then what do? They always change the job. After they interview, they're like, "Oh wait, we need this. Oh wait, we need this." I think it's you meet the right person. Tell me what you want, and don't be scared to have a conversation. Don't interview somebody. Have a conversation with them.
Okay. And the last one is strong soft skills or great on paper questionable in real life.
No, all give me strong skills all the time.
Okay, good.
Remember, at the end of the day, with all the stuff going on with AI, people still do business with people.
Yes, it's true.
That's true.
And before we
Go, Gabi.
I will say that I miss this space, so I would love that we continue repeating
Of course.
webinars.
I agree with you. I'm so happy that we're back in 2026. So stay tuned for more podcasts coming soon. And obviously to have guest speakers. And if not, CTI will cover some of the things. So yeah, before we leave, and because I know you are a well reader, one of the books would you suggest us to read starting 2026, please?
It's actually funny you said that because
of course you have one on your pocket, obviously.
I don't have the book on me just yet, but
okay.
The newest one, Start to Scale.
Okay.
Start to Scale. And the reason for that book is it's a fantastic platform. It's an introduction on how to start growing your business. And when I say that, I'm not talking to just CEOs, CFOs, and COOs. I'm talking to the regular person at any company. You are your own business, and you can start scaling your own business to do great things. So it's a great book. It's a great starting point, and it'll probably be our book club book for the month of February. So everybody get ready.
Awesome. Wonderful. Sia, thank you so much for this space, these 30 minutes. Gabby, thank you so much as always for the questions, the games, and everything. Stay tuned, guys. More podcasts coming soon. Ciao, ciao. Welcome 2026. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining.
Bye, ladies.